clothing wise and skiing wise, it's just like, as long as you don't stay kind of, I think it's good, because then you're always evolving and it brings new things to the table kind of.
How old are you?
25, turning 26 this year.
Cool.
So born in 93.
Yeah. So I guess like when you were 18, 19, you did a super unknown edit? Right?
Yeah, probably did, yeah.
And got an honorable mention.
Oh, I was hyped.
Yeah, totally. Your style of skiing was definitely like different then than it is now, and by a little bit. And so was the way that you dressed. So what was like that evolution like a little bit?
At that time, for sure, like Henrik was like the thing. He still is the thing, but for me it was like, damn,
Yep.
And I'd seen like back when June Olsen was skiing with like the tank top and the headphones and just like looking so gangster.
Yeah,
it was just like, that's how I want to look, and Henrik had this huge clothes and it was like, I want to have those huge clothes. Like everything kind of, I never try to stay in something just because kind of.
Yeah.
So that's how I think clothing wise and skiing wise, it's just like, as long as you don't stay kind of, I think it's good, because then you're always evolving and it brings new things to the table kind of.
Yeah.
And lately it's seriously been like, I've never had like a proper like outerwear sponsor, and haven't really been interested either. So I just like, because I just want to wear whatever I want to wear.
Yeah.
And then like 3 years ago, I just was like, if there's any brand like I would really want to work with, and it was Fjällräven. I don't know if you know about it. It's like a brand from Sweden. They're huge, like they're insanely big. And they've all like, but they've made the same stuff for 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
So I have like, if you see like, you can buy a secondhand puffy jacket from Fjällräven, and it looks exactly the same as the ones you buy in the store right now.
Yeah.
And I happened to get a deal with them for this year, and I just got proper outerwear.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, so I've done like an 8-hour street session and I'm almost dry. It's like,
totally,
this feels good.
Totally.
And that's like, now that has been like my evolution of style kind of. And I feel like the evolution of skiing style as well, it's like doing more of what feels good.
Yeah.
Instead of, because I think that's like a part of growing up too. You like look at, in a sense, you're looking at yourself in the mirror all the time. And even skiing wise, you're looking at your shots, and it's like, you just like compare yourself to yourself by looking in the mirror, or if that's a camera or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it translates into, what looks good, and you start learning what looks good. And then that makes you feel good, because you can feel when it looks good. It starts off like that, but then you're just looking for the good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just like keep going for the feeling good part of it. And that whether that's dressing in whatever I'm dressing in, as long as I feel good, that's going to bring like good style, or whatever you want to call it. And it's just, I don't know, more about feeling good than anything. And I think that's the evolution of like both the clothing style and the skiing style. It's just start doing more and more things that feels good.
Yeah.
Necessarily more than looking good, pretty much.
Totally. No, I love it. And it's very evident in your style, because like you just look like you're having fun, and it's not necessarily like, you just like look like you're having a blast, instead of like looking like you're there to like prove something. It's like you're just there to be along the journey of life, which is on skis. And instead of like trying to force anything into existence, it's just like being with it into existence. I don't know, that's like maybe woo woo or whatever, but
no, but that's awesome. That's a big compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. No, I mean, like, I think the goal for me is like to have the most fun on the mountain. And it's not even like a competition necessarily, but like, it's how do I bring a smile to my face? Like, like that's just, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong,
Yeah, for real.
If there is a wrong way,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like one of my big mantras is like, yeah, if you're not having fun, if you're not, because, it's all about enjoying the life that we're given, not like being so hardcore about things that, you have to accomplish something to think that you're successful. It's just like, I'm successfully having fun in a certain over and over. In that super unknown edit, you had some big mountain skiing. Do you still do any big? You had like 1 or 2 cliffs in there.
Okay, yeah. I can't really remember the edit.
I just watched it, so.
Okay. Yeah. I think I'm being right now for sure. I'm being labeled a street skier.
Yeah.
Because I've been skiing a lot of street, but I always ski like as much as I can out of everything,
Yeah.
And lately that has been a lot of street skiing, but I like always go out and try to ski as much as possible anywhere. So for sure, I did one big mountain competition. Actually, like maybe that was the year. And I just got lost, skied the wrong direction, and just like, missed everything I was going to hit, just like skied straight down. I'm out of here,
Yeah.
But for sure, I'm definitely trying to do more of it. I'm just like, trying to ski as much as possible anywhere I can.
Yeah, wherever it is.
Yeah.
I would love to see that fun, style that you bring into the big mountain and see what comes of it. Cause I wouldn't expect it to be like going and dropping the biggest cliff. It's like, how do I make this little 5 or 10 footer really, really, really fun?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. One of the clips that stands out from the real ski edit is the 3 Butter Misty 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
That one. And then the one that really stands out, that's like almost like it's not exaggerated in the edit at all, but the switch tail press backflip. That one is just so G. I don't even, yeah.
Damn, thanks, man. Yeah, that one is actually, I've never done a switch backy before that.
Wow, really?
Never even tried a switch backy before that.
Crazy. Was that a first try trick? Or
no.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I had done it I'd done the fake tail press to like an underflip kind of. And that was also the first time I ever did a fake underflip thing. But then now it's just like, I want to try to just do it all fakey kind of. And it worked out.
Yeah.
There's like crazy fails on that one for sure. Just going, I don't know, slipping out in all directions pretty much.
Yeah, totally. Switch tail press is nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. And I'd been thinking about that trick for a long time because I did I think it was in Finesse, the Bunch movie. I did like a 180 onto a mani pad, like 180 on to fake a tail press, 180 out.
Mm-hmm.
And I got that and I've seen it. And then it's just like, that was probably like 4 years ago. And then I just been thinking about maybe you could flip out of that,
Mm-hmm.
but that's scary.
Yeah, totally.
And then, last spring I got to try it and it kind of worked out with the underflip, and then now got to do it with the straight backy, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm like thinking, you got me thinking about it. And I'm like, I don't even know if I could like even do the honor flip or anything, but I almost feel like you could do like switch cork.
Yeah, for real. I
Switch,
think you could.
yeah, switch tail press, switch cork. Hmm.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Like that's how I want the skiing to be.
Yeah.
You know, just like opening up doors, kind of.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, if you could do that, then you could probably do this.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. What's been your favorite part of the journey so far? Like, do you have a favorite like era or a favorite like? I think like you talked about, like getting the invitation for doing the real ski was probably awesome, but like I like for me some of my favorite times are like reminiscing on being at Mount Hood and like being the kid that I would train all morning in gates, and then I would come down and I would like have my speed suit on and I would come hike the park with the snowboarders and like throwing these big threes in the park. And like I had special permission from a snowboard coach that ran Mount Hood summer ski camps, like park whole program. And I had special permission to hit the jumps as a skier because they didn't even, for like the first couple of years, they didn't even allow skiers in the park generally. And I would like cut through High Cascade and then like jump over to Mount Hood Summer Ski Camp and everything. And like those are some of my favorite memories, is like being that freaking goofball kid in a speed suit throwing threes on these big jumps at Mount Hood Summer Ski Camp Park. So like, do you have a favorite era or a favorite, any?
My fondest memories are probably like when we started, like the people from the school and like when the bunch thing really caught on and we started going to the US, and we would have like came in and then we bought like a 8-seat Suburban, and we would just like be actually 8 people in it.
Yeah.
And then have like everyone had ski bags. We just like strap it on the roof. It's just like riding so low, and it was incredibly heavy. And we would just like sleep in it. You just like drive on the side of the road, and we would just be sleeping, sitting, and it would smell like shit in there because everyone had their ski boots and stuff.
Yep.
And then just like driving up the West Coast, and that time, like that era is probably my favorite, when we were all like a big crew, always a huge crew, like road tripping around and going to the it's pretty funny, like going to the High Five festival in France.
Yep.
Everyone like having a movie in the festival.
Yeah.
Like they get like a two bedroom hotel room.
Okay.
Or like a 2-bed hotel room. And we would always come in like 10 people,
Yep.
Because that's just like, that's the crew,
Yeah.
Like we're not leaving anyone at home. We're all coming.
Right. Like
and then we would just like go there, crash 10 people in these tiny hotel rooms, and we would be like, people would be like, you can't do that. Like, that's like the hotel is getting mad at us for you guys doing that. And we were like, well, sorry. Like, we're still going to do it.
Yeah.
Because also we're broke. We're skiers. We're broke as skiers. We can't pay for our own shit.
Yeah.
So we have this room and we're going to sleep in it.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Then, like next year, the same thing. People get mad. And then now we're like the only crew, I think, that gets like an apartment.
Yeah.
Because it was like, we're gonna keep on doing this. So like, it's up to you guys.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. That's like being that big crew, like big family, just like traveling around everywhere together. For real. Now it's like a little different. Everyone's like growing up a little bit. Like some people are studying, like maybe not doing as much as skiing, and like now there's like other people that are like part of the movement instead, and it's like still big, but it was definitely like when it all started out, and we were always traveling like 10 people deep all the time. That was good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Totally. Yeah, that reminds me, like we would always end up at least 6 people in rooms. There's this comp at Snowbird, Big Mountain Comp, and 4 of them rented a hotel room at the Lodge, which is like kind of a nicer hotel at the base of Snowbird. It was built in the 80s, so like at that time it was like a really nice hotel. It's not, as it aged, it's like it's got some of that like antique, like quote unquote antique vibe or whatever. But man, like we would pack like 6 or 8 of us into that room, and then like you'd get drunk, lose your room key, and end up sleeping on the couch in the middle of like the atrium or whatever. And hotel workers would come by, or like other hotel guests, like you'd wake up and like hotel guests are like walking by you, and you're like, you just give them the nod and then like close your eyes again. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy when we started going to the US too, because like at that time the dollar compared to our currency was really low.
Mm-hmm.
So it was super cheap for us going to the US.
Yeah.
And then we would be like, we would get there, we would rent a house in like Frisco or whatever, and then we would just like eat shitty food, just like trying to stay as cheap as possible because we wanted to stay there for as long as possible.
Yep.
We just wanted to ski. And that's like when we were all like doing ski school, working out a lot, like, having pretty good, like strong body, a lot of muscles. And that was like, I know I was like the heaviest I've ever been, like in muscles during that time. And we went to that house in Frisco for 6 weeks, and I came back and I lost 12 pounds.
Dang.
Just like skiing every day so hard, and then just like eating the cheapest thing you could get at Taco Bell for every dinner. And it's just like the muscles were just like cracking up discipline from your body. Like, give me nutrition.
Right? Give me something real.
We're getting a $1 meal from Walmart that I put in the microwave tonight,
Yep. Totally. Yeah. Something to fill the belly so it's not yelling.
Yep, for real.
So funny.
Yeah, for real. Now it's like, I don't know, we're all like really trying to take care of ourselves. We're all like eating vegetarian food and like really trying to stay on top of eating better, like makes you ski better for sure.
Totally. Yeah, no, that's one of the things that I wanted to touch on was like nutrition and fitness. And like, I think that there's an evolution, like as when you're younger, like your parents generally try and feed you really good food. And then like, there's this period of time where you're like, I got to make this budget work. Like it's more important to me that I get a ton of skiing in and that I stretch my money to make it last the longest I possibly can. And I don't care what I'm putting in my body. And then like, also like for me, drinking and partying really caught up with me. I don't drink anymore just because it's like, it just doesn't work for me anymore. Yeah. Like vegetarian, like what else are you in the gym anymore or like yoga?
Yeah. Now I'm like really getting into more of like, just movements pretty much. I've been doing a lot of bouldering, like climbing.
Yep.
And that's like super nice. They have a gym there at the climbing gym I go to as well. So I try to do a lot of like body weight exercises and like try to eat well. And for me, I think one thing that really, I don't know, changed what I eat and drink is like I just got one of these bottles,
and
it just made me in a way praise the water in a different way, because if you have a nice bottle, you're gonna know where it is.
Totally.
And then you always know where your water is, because you want to keep the bottle and you have water in it. So, and that like was a big thing for me, because I would wake up in the morning and just have coffee. That's what I would do. I just like wake up, have coffee. And then I had this bottle and just like woke up and I just slugged one of those. And then I was just like, this actually wakes me up more than having that cup of coffee. And then it's like, oh, okay, maybe there's other things that I should like try as well.
Yeah.
And then for me, eating vegetarian, it was pretty much started because of like environmental reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Because like beef is like the worst thing for the environment,
Yeah.
pretty much all time high that like a person can change pretty much
Yeah.
to do better. And then I started off because of that, and then I didn't really notice a really big difference at first, but then I would eat meat every now and then. I would be like, whoa, like, oh, so heavy. And like, whoa, now it takes like an hour after having food until I can do something again because I'm just like so heavy in my body. And eating vegetarian for me is just like, I don't know, easier on the body and makes me feel better at least.
Yeah, totally.
And also cooking, it's like way faster because it's like you can eat pretty much all veggies raw.
Yeah.
So it's just like I cut them up and then it's just like, I don't have time to cook them or whatever. Just eat them, you know?
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite vegetarian meal that you like come back to, or?
Yeah, I think lasagna, like a veggie lasagna with like lentils and beans and stuff in it. It's really good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I still eat like milk products and stuff. It's just like I don't eat meat necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
When I go back to my parents' house, like my dad's a hunter and he'll hunt moose, so I'll eat moose meat and stuff at my parents' house. But other than that, I never really buy meat. If I cook myself, I never eat meat.
Yeah.
But I'm not like, I'm not like a strict like I'm not eating meat. It's just like if someone makes me a meal and it's meat, I'm not gonna be like I'm not eating.
Yeah.
Because it's made and I'll have it.
Yep.
That's pretty much like as far as eating, I think. And then moving, it's just like, as I said, going more and more into movements. I used to do like a lot of heavy lifting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like in school, we did like a bunch of heavy lifting, and I always think that it's like a fun thing to do. Actually, just like pushing your limits, just doing squats with weights, seeing how much you can lift. It's like, for sure, I still think it's fun, and I still do it. But I think lately I've really gotten into just like moving in whatever way you can, pretty much.
Yeah, totally.
And like Kim Boberg, who was also in the real ski, he's like, I don't know if you follow him on the gram, but he's posting on his story a lot of like weird movement stuff.
Cool.
And he's gotten really he's the one who actually got me into it, pretty much. And it's like there's this guy called Ido Portal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
You know him?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've been looking so much at him, and just like he has such a good like way of looking at movements, and just like move your body any way you can. If it's like dancing or handstanding or like whatever it is, it's like I really like what he said. He says like, what is the one thing that separates the humans like physically from any other animal, and it's like movement complexity.
Yeah.
And it's really true. And just like trying to move your body in as many different ways as possible, I think is really good.
Yeah, totally.
It gets you a lot of laughs at the gym, but yeah, it's really fun for sure.
Totally. No, Ido Portal is like someone that I've been looking into more and more. And there's a local place called the Movement Collective that kind of combines a lot of the stuff that he does. And yeah, I mean, I think that there's so much to be said about, not bulking up to the point where you like, you can completely reduce your ability to move and to have those, the movement complexity, just because you have big muscles that are so taut and so, conditioned to do the heavy lifting, but you may not be able to do some simple, if you're so swollen, like sometimes you can't even like get your shoulder back enough to like put a coat on properly.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I feel like in skiing too, there's really like that like whole genre of working out is definitely like catching on a lot, and it's like becoming a really big trend with like body weight exercises and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I also think like for skiers, I think it's really important to still do those like heavy lifts and stuff, because like when you're landing in a really weird position, like what's going to save your knee is like having those explosive, like really, really strong muscles.
Yeah.
It's like, of course, it's really good to be able to bend in all different directions, but when it comes to like those impacts and stuff, you need to have those like really strong muscles too.
Totally.
And I think that's like pretty important not to forget. I think I might be wrong, who knows, but that's at least how it works in my head. Like if you're trying to push yourself and do a lot of, maybe not even trying to do a lot of big impacts, but it happens from time to time, then you need to have the muscles to take care of it too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, especially like big mountain hitting cliffs, and then like you deal with like powder isn't always light and fluffy,
Yeah, exactly.
So like being able to squat out a nice, like a landing that is, more firm than he thought it was, or has, like that heavier powder, anything like that. I think that it's really important to have the muscle strength and density, but yeah, also like it's that nice intersection of movement within having that strength and everything.
Yeah. Seeing like PK Hunter, for example, he's been like without ACLs and MCLs in his knees for a long time and skiing on a really high level.
Yeah.
And that just like, and he is strong. Like he is a beast. Yep. Like hanging out with him, you're just seeing him, it's just like, that's a bear,
Yeah.
And that just like, I don't know, that proves that point, kind of, that if you can ski without those things in your knee because you're really, really strong, then being that strong and having those is probably the best case scenario.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it brings me back to the movie Claim. Simon Dumont and PK are both in that movie. One of my favorite movies of all time, for sure. Yep. And I've got to play some volleyball with Simon Dumont in Boulder because he's, around Boulder often. And another one of those people where you're like, core muscles, he looks like a bear. Like, like his midsection is like, he's got a six pack, but it's like, it's just crazy. And then, like in fourth phase, they talk about Travis Rice's, like the muscles.
Yeah. I was just about to mention that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the doctors are like, what? Like, have you seen this?
Right.
Like, this man's a beast.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And obviously, I think there's a strong correlation behind that, that whole intersection of strength and flexibility and, like having the beast core muscles.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that's like a pretty hard thing, like when you're thinking about kids, like skiing, because like a lot of skiers like get really good and start skiing at a really high level when they're really young. And then it's like, you don't want to like start lifting heavy stuff when you're growing, but you're doing all these crazy tricks. And then that adds up to a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's a really interesting part for me too, thinking about like the younger generation, like how are we going to keep evolving like skiers from such a young age without them getting hurt, kind of.
Yeah.
I think that's a really, really tough question. Because I've been thinking a lot about it, because when I was growing up skiing, we were like doing a lot of just exercising because of like racers. I feel like racers overall train way harder out of the ski hill than like freestyle skiers do. And I think we should have that in mind, because we want to be skiing it for as long as possible,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that, longevity is something that there should be something that, we pay attention to the art of longevity in the sport because, I think it's really easy to get injured to the point where you're like, I don't even, like I'm not going to go hug myself anymore. And there's also like, I think there's an art of longevity and also not burning yourself out. Like you enjoy pushing yourself in the gym, but some people may not enjoy that type of, in the box mentality of like being in the gym. So then how do you make training fun?
Yeah. And that's when I feel like that whole movement culture is really good.
Yeah.
Because I also feel like my physio that I've been going to, who's also my uncle, he is the most fun people. The most fun people to work with for him are like serious athletes, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get hurt, you know that working out is the only way to get back, and you're gonna work out because you want to get back.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like just for regular people or whatever that doesn't have like that mentality, if you find something that you think is fun with your body, then you're gonna notice that the stronger you are, the better you're gonna be able to do it, and
Yep.
then working out starts becoming fun, kind of, because you
Yeah.
know that now I'm doing this because I want to be able to do that.
Yep. And you incentivize the hard work so that way you can have the fun. And
Yeah.
I think that it's really, it's important to have internal incentive, like not just someone telling you like, hey, you should do this because, but truly feeling it on the inside of like, I want to do this because I want to be able to get back out and have that control over my body.
Yeah. Real. And that was like for me now, I just like last winter I learned to handstand.
Yeah.
Just like be able to handstand. And it was like, whoa, this is really cool, when you get like to the point, just like to the point where you can stand for like 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, whoa, like this is crazy feeling that I can actually do this, because I've seen people do it and it seems impossible when I try it. And then when you get to that point, and then now it's like I have the balance.
Yeah.
But now it's like I'm getting tired.
Uh-huh.
Handstanding. So after a while, it's like I can't handstand anymore. It's not because I lose balance, because I just can't, because my muscles are wearing out handstanding. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, that's a reason to work out my shoulders, because then I can handstand longer, and whatever that is. If you find, I don't know, anything that you think is fun doing with your body, I feel like it's really important for all people.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Totally. Like, part of like the life that we're given is consciousness and a body. And like, there's so much, because you have so much complexity of movement and complexity of mind as a human, then like, it's like, for me, I want to honor this gift I've been given of a life. And, by pursuing finding out the ways to be creative with the body and going out and enjoying it, and like, whatever, like if it's like in judo, like doing like, rolls and stuff like that, or handstands. After I broke my back 3 years ago today, actually.
Whoa, no way.
Yeah, it was a pretty minor break in the grand scheme of things. It was just one of the wings that comes off the actual spine, so it wasn't like a threat to my spinal cord, thank God. But it was after that I actually ended up starting to focus on handstands, and I don't know, I don't think that I could still do them because it's my muscles have fallen out of that development a little bit, but I really wanted to be able to do handstand push-ups. And I got to a point where I could do handstand push-ups, and that was like super crazy, like you just have that, like you set that goal, and then all of a sudden like you accomplish it, and it's like the best thing in the world, right?
Yeah. And to like what I've noticed is like doing those like movement exercises, it's like if you find exercises, and I feel like that's a really good thing, going to like a gym, like a movement gym or whatever, just like I've just been watching YouTube just for inspiration, and then you like I started trying, like Kim taught me, how you're like standing on all four and then you try to go into like an arch, like walking around kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's so hard, like technically hard,
Yeah.
but it's also super physically hard.
Yeah.
But since it's so technically hard, you're not thinking about the physical toughness of it.
Yeah.
And then I was just trying, and it felt like so technically hard. And then when I woke up the next morning, that's when I felt it was also physically hard, because
Yep.
I could feel it in my body, like, whoa,
Yeah.
like, okay, that's actually not only technically hard, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching a ski racer doing some cool workout routines, and they had like a wooden bar that they like were holding with their feet up above them, and then they roll to their stomach, and you like, it's like on the flat of your feet. You roll to your stomach and you try and keep the bar balanced, and then you roll back to your back. I'll find a video to send it over.
Oh, okay. With like a stick on your feet?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Whoa, that sounds like fun.
Totally. She made it look really easy, and then I went and tried it in the gym, and I like felt like such a fool. I'm like, oh man, this is not easy at all whatsoever. Like, what the heck? But
I bet.
yeah, I'll find a video of it and send it over. Yeah, but it's fun because then you get to explore how your body moves and like creating that type of just a goal,
Yeah, for sure. I actually, now that I think about it, my dad, like, that was way before I was even thinking about like movement training or anything. It's like when I was a kid, and we would like, you just have a chair standing, and it's like a pretty straight up, like skinny, simple chair, and you sit on it, and then you're supposed to climb around the back of the chair, like climb around the chair and get back to sitting position again around the back of the chair, and without the chair falling back, kind of.
Yeah.
And it's like so hard, but you can't do it. And then it's just like, that's like one of those things too. It's like super fun to try.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you think it's only technical, but you get the physical too.
Yeah, no, I'll have to look up a video of that as well, because like, sounds like sounds like fun.
Yeah, for real.
Do you have any morning or evening routines that you stick to?
Not really. I try to. I think it's the one thing I do is I chug a lot of water when I wake up.
Yeah,
that's the one thing, and it's like, I think that's mostly what I do. I just wake up, chug a lot of water, and then start whatever I want to start.
Yep,
pretty much.
Totally.
Yeah. Other than that, it's just like I do such like a lot of different things all the time, because I also work as like a DOP, like a director of photography, doing like filming and stuff.
Yeah.
When I'm in Stockholm, and do some editing and stuff for different things. And then I'm out skiing, and then Sundays I'm not doing anything, and it's like wake up different times every day, kind of, and yeah.
Do you ever do any sort of like meditation? Is that anything that you've ever?
Yeah, I do. My mood swings a lot. I've noticed, like, as I get older, I can like see myself getting really like emotional and like really angry. That's like when I think about it, at least I get really happy too, but then you don't think about it because you're happy, and that's fine, but then you get angry, and it's like, whoa, like, why am I getting angry right now? I read a book called The Power of Now.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
I've heard of it. I have not read it, but
yeah,
I actually.
And so like the basic idea of it is this guy, he's in a lot of troubles, like financially, and he's like sleeping outside and like having a really hard time with himself. And then he hears himself thinking, I can't live with myself. So there's an I and there's a myself. Does that like what does that mean, kind of? And then he starts spinning off that, and then it's like the idea is that most people in the world identifies themselves with the voice they have inside their head.
Yeah.
But if you're meditating, you're still there. Like, even if you're not thinking, even if it's silent in your head, you're still there.
Yeah.
Which means the voice in your head isn't you. Like that's not the definition of you. Like you're something else.
Yeah.
And that's like at one point there's like a couple of exercises in there, and it's just like when you're in bed, you're like start trying to breathe, like just like easily and just like relax, and then try to hear what the voice inside your head sounds like. And then when you really try to listen to it, it isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And it like the first time I did it, I was like, I can't hear, like, there's nothing, you can't hear it, there's nothing there. And that means you can stay in that state where you're not like talking to yourself, kind of, you're just being there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a way of getting to a higher self or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's like really helped me, because sometimes when I get mad, and usually when you get sad or mad, that's when you start feeding yourself with those bad thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And you start thinking, I can't do this, or what the fuck am I doing, or like, why am I doing this, blah, blah, blah. You're starting to feed yourself with all these thoughts. But then you should just like try to not think and see if you're still angry,
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like when you get mad in the first place, is when you start telling yourself you're mad, kind of. Yeah, that's helped me a lot, actually. And whenever I get mad now, it's just like, do I need to be mad, or like, is this pretty silly, or like,
Yeah.
And just try to not feed myself with the bad thoughts.
Yeah.
And then usually it works out, kind of. You can just calm down, and if there's something else making you mad, you will actually start doing something about that, instead of like feeding yourself with that bad energy, kind of.
Yeah, totally. I love that, because it actually gives you power over the now, instead of being powerless in the now to your own, a slave to your own thought process.
Yeah,
basically.
Because it's like, there's a quote in there that he says like, nothing ever happened in the past, and nothing will ever happen in the future. It will happen in the now.
Yeah.
And that's like, pretty much what I try to like, live by, or something like that. Just being here and now. Like, of course, sometimes you need to plan stuff. That's like part of life, but you don't have to. If you can't do it now, you don't have to think about it.
Yeah. Totally.
But that's also like, in a way, you need to address that there is negative energy. Like it's real, just as real as positive energy, and negative energy is there as well. And I think you just gotta embrace the fact that the negative energy is what makes the positive energy positive, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And not like, because some people think that like, to be happier, I need to only think positive thoughts. But it's like, I don't really know. You need to like acknowledge all the thoughts and all the energies to be able to get yourself in the right direction, kind of.
No, I love that, for sure. I've dealt with anger, in several points in my life that feels like it's like all consuming, you just get in that point, and then like the frustration builds, and then like, I get locked into this feeling of like getting more and more angry, just because I am listening to the voice inside my head, and feeding it the thoughts of like, well, and like most of my anger, I think, stems from anger of self, but then gets projected onto other people. And like, there are other people's actions that I disagree with, but oftentimes like I still choose to engage with their negativity or what they're doing, instead of just taking power over what I do have control over, which is me, and like removing myself from the situation, or removing myself from the condition, the cyclical cycle, of existing in that. And it's something that I've struggled with, I've been very imperfect in my life about getting angry at certain people and like certain situations, and there are regrets that I have because of things that I've said and done in the moments of overwhelming anger that like just aren't good. They're not what I like. If I were to replay my whole life, if I were to die today, if I were to replay my whole life, there would be moments that I would not want to look at myself, acting in that way.
But I feel like that like just acknowledging that too is like, that's why you're the person you're today. And that's why you're going to be a better person in the future, because you just like acknowledge that. I think it's important that you don't look at it and be angry about it, but you look at it and it's like, it is what it is, but I know about it and now I can change it. Pretty much.
Yeah. It's real.
I think that's super important for sure.
Yeah.
Because I've had a lot of like anger issues, kind of mostly at myself, but as you say, it definitely like projects. And I'm one of those people too. I've learned that like my energy really shows, Some people are just like, they can just be silent and be mad, but no one will know. But I can be silent and mad and everyone will know,
Yeah.
So that's like a thing that I've worked on a lot for sure.
Totally. Are there any other like techniques or books or anything else that like we're way off the topic of skiing, but I love like this topic because it's a real thing that everyone goes through, is dealing with the emotional spectrum. And, like I think, especially this day and age, we're not really taught very much about emotional intelligence and like how to deal with it, where, we see the Instagram lifestyle of like everyone's best moments. And then we also see this glorified lifestyle of celebrityism.
But it is the Instagram era. It's a highway to depression for a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah, totally.
Because you just start comparing yourself with the best of everyone else.
Yeah, it's just so easy to see, like you see other people for how you want to see them, not for the reality that they're actually living. And people, with social media, like you're just talking about, can paint a picture of who they are in a different way. Yeah, it's an interesting time that we live in for sure.
Yeah. Because we can like still understand, or like we were once in a time where there wasn't social media. And we can like reflect over what it is. But I just like imagine like someone being born today and like, how are they going to look at social media? And like, I hope, and I feel like they might be better at using it, because it's a part of their life and they know. I feel like people being born into it will be more honest. Yeah. Because we didn't have it, now we have it, now we can share everything with everyone. So now we just want to share what's good.
Yeah.
But I feel like people in the future might be in a different way, where you can just like, it's just a part of life in a way. So at least that's what I hope.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Like,
yeah, for sure. We're living in a really good time, I think.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of good things happening.
Hey, just one more thing before you go. I wanted to say thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope that you really enjoyed it. A couple things that I would ask that you do if you enjoyed today's episode. Number one, go follow us on Instagram at The Athletic Stance Podcast. Number two, if you don't mind leaving a review, rating it, and subscribing, It always helps. It helps spread the word. It helps me know what you guys are enjoying or not. And if you don't mind leaving a comment on Instagram, letting me know what you're enjoying, what you're not enjoying, I will always take into consideration. And feel free to send me a message with recommendations on who you'd like to hear from, what you'd like to hear us talk about. And as always, thank you so much for listening, for your time, and we'll see you next time at the Athletic Stance Podcast.